it 1,000 times. I just want to be loved back the way that I love somebody. I don't know if that's possible.
So, you tell me, where do we go from here?
All there is the truth.
To say I love you, like, for me, that means, like, I see a future with you. That means I'm thinking, like, down the road here.
We're putting it all out there. So I'm like, I love you.
What's on the other side of that door? What was on the other side of the fence? Who put it all out there? And who breaks down into tears on what could be the most dramatic season finale ever of The Bachelor? Part 1 of the live finale airs Monday night. That's tonight. And Colton Underwood will make some big decisions. Will he chase after Cassie after she left him in the dust? Will he get down on one knee at the end of all of this? Oh, to break down our predictions and talk through it all for Roses and Rosé Live is Ben Higgins, who just brought some rosé out here. Cheers to you, Ben.
Cheers to you.
This has been open in our office fridge for a couple days.
Yeah, thanks for the gift.
I don't discriminate. I'll drink the oldest of wines. At a certain point, I'm like, it's juice, and now it has vitamins. That logic doesn't make sense. Ben Higgins, thank you for being here. We wanted to bring in one of our faves ahead of tonight's live finale, two-part live finale. A little different this year, not really getting like an after the final rose because Colton's finale is so different. As we saw, last week, Cassie walked out on him, and Colton said to her, I wanted it to be you at the end. As somebody who's been a lead on the show, like, how much was your mind blown when you saw him just put it all out there and tell her, I wanted it to be you, and say, after all this, I wanted it to be you? To me, after all this meant the show.
I'm not shocked. And that was the part of that moment that I thought was great was, you know, you go up to the very end, and really it's the last 2 weeks, I think, that you start to really figure out who it is you want. The rest of the time, you keep your mind open, and you're waiting to find that perfect person. And then the last 2 weeks, you go, okay, now it's time. I have to figure out exactly which person it is, if it's any of them. He obviously knew it was Cassie. He probably in his mind thought he had a few more weeks left, a week and a half left. Instead, now she's leaving, and he freaks out. He reacts, and he goes, the only way I know how to keep you here is to tell you the truth, which is, you are the one, and if you leave, I'm lost. Like, this whole thing wasn't worth it.
Wow, interesting. So do you think that he had known even before that? Like, I guess that's the thing too, is like, in this process, how do you really know even when you think you know? Because I feel like things can change and your mind can get all sorts of sideways. Yeah. Do you think that he knew that it was for sure Cassie, or did her leaving like cement it for him that it was her, and then he wanted to tell her that? I
think he already knew. I think when he sat down that night, his idea was that they're gonna be in the fantasy suite together.
He's going to be able to tell her.
He's going to be able to tell her.
God.
And so, you know, hours before he thinks he has his moment of complete privacy to do with it what he wants to do, and he can just tell her, hey, this is how I feel, she leaves. And so as a result, he is lost. But he already knew, I think, going into that who he wanted.
Interesting. All right.
Think so.
So then we get the fence jump, of course. Ben, I want to ask you kind of about like how to break this down, because Colton jumps the fence.
Yeah.
We see the cameras, Chris going after him. We know that I've interviewed Chris and Colton about it, and we know that like on the other side of that fence was nothing. Colton told me he thought that there was going to be, you know, like audio and stuff on the other side of the fence, and he was shocked that there wasn't. He was so used to being surrounded by crew members. Like, watching all this happen, did you think to yourself, this is so crazy that this is even possible? Like, did you ever try to get away from everybody as the lead?
No, because like you said, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're in this like little bubble. And if Colton jumped the fence thinking there's going to be people on the other side, what was he jumping the fence for then? Like, that was the question. So if he thinks that he was jumping into a new camera or a new piece of the show, then why jump the fence? Just hang out a little bit longer. I never thought about leaving because you're in this bubble for so long, you don't know how to operate without it. I remember the first moment that the crew left. So this is how it happens, right? You get down on one knee at the end. I was engaged. We just threw a nice little party. It was really nice. Everybody like celebrated, and we ate and we drank together. And then everybody leaves because these people have families. They fly home from wherever you're at. And I remember the first moment I looked around and there was nobody there except the two of us. And it's a weird feeling. You don't know how to even hardly dress yourself in the morning anymore. You haven't driven in 3 months. Like, the world and The Bachelor is so much different than reality because you have 200 people around you at all times.
Wow, what's that like for you psychologically?
It messes you up. I still haven't recovered. I need people around at all times. More people, the better. It does mess you up. I mean, and so when he jumps the fence, I can't imagine. That's the first time that Colton has been away from probably at least 10 people surrounding him in 2.5 months. That's a weird feeling. I mean, I had somebody sleeping in a room next to me or in my room with me at all times.
Really? You had sometimes when you were sharing a room with someone, that's how...
Yeah, you have a handler like there to support you, to help you, to make sure you're up on time, to make sure that you're dressed and ready.
Because you're exhausted.
Because you're exhausted. You've gone on 40+ dates. You've met all these people. You've done all this press. Like, you're tired. At this point, you're just trying to survive. And so honestly, when I watch Colton in that moment, as a friend, I'm like, this has got to be like a really emotional time. Because once he jumps the fence and he looks around and nobody's there, what do you do? Well, he took off down the road, which... Get on him.
I mean, would he have with him a wallet or a phone or anything?
No, nothing. I think he says that to Chris maybe at some point. He's like, I don't even have my phone. Like, I think Chris asks him, I think I remember this in the show, like, Chris asks him, like, you know, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know, I don't have my phone. Like, just walking down the street.
I mean, so I talked to Colton and Chris about it at the Women Tell All special, and Chris said that things get really, really emotional, more than he ever thought they would for the producers. Because, and we kind of see in a teaser clip, like Colton hugging a producer and him crying. We do know that Colton comes back, we know that much, you know, they continue filming. But what would you imagine that would be like? Because like you said, you guys have been together, you've been so close. Like, how tight is that bond, and how might a producer feel when the lead has disappeared and nobody knows where they are and if they're okay?
Yeah, well, you know, for me it was a little different. I had a producer named Lindsay, and Lindsay is one of the sweetest people that I've ever met. But at the end, like, you start to get sick of these people because they're in your business all the time. They're probing for these love answers. They're asking you your biggest insecurities. And so by the time this is getting to the end, you're like, I don't want to be around you anymore, as great as you are. And after I left the show, then I started to really appreciate those people and who they were and who they were to me. And it's their job, right? I'm not like, you know, I'm sure they moved on the day later and took over the Bachelorette and ran off with that. But at the time, like, they really did invest into my life at some level. And so it took them leaving for me to appreciate it. I wonder if for Colton, once he jumped the fence and everybody was gone, he realized that it wasn't that bad, that nobody was out to get him, that they weren't out to ruin his life, that they were trying to tell the story that was happening and unfolding in front of them. And so when the producer came up and you see him embrace, maybe it's that, you know, for the last 2 hours of me running, I've missed you.
Oh, so much to dive into. We are back with Ben Higgins in just a minute. Don't go anywhere.
Did happen on the bus from the airport in Singapore to the hotel. And
what did you
honestly,
hear?
It was just talking about being the Bachelorette, or one of us winning and one of us being the Bachelorette after this. And honestly, like, it was the word winning. I didn't feel like he was something to be won. I felt like it was a relationship to work for.
There's a lot of talk about this conversation you and Cassie had, and if you could, like, just quickly clear it up. Yeah, I know exactly the conversation that was had. I was fully confident in my relationship with Colton. I was fully confident that it was going to be me in the end, and I was terrified that if it was me at the end, I didn't want Cassie and I's friendship to be in jeopardy. And so I was like, if it is me at the end, if I am engaged to Colton, you know, I want you to be the Bachelorette. I want you to find your person. I want you to find happiness. And she said the same thing. Everything else is just made up.
Well, watching you go home was really difficult. Do you feel like you're still confused about that? And are you still in love with Colton at this point?
I'm still confused. I had one question that I wanted to ask Colton, and I asked that tonight, and he didn't really give me an answer. He didn't give me anything. We all kind of sat in silence for a minute and soaked that in, that there was no answer. And I've, taken some time, and I've tried to heal my heart, but it has been lonely. There's no one you can really talk to about it. It's been the hardest heartbreak that I've ever had to deal with, and I thought I was over it. But tonight just reopened old wounds.
Are you still in love with Colton?
I don't think I'm still in love with Colton. I just think that I'm still processing this deep, deep love that I had for him.
Well, why do you think you were sent home? And I have to say, was it hard to watch Cassie stay? She's your friend, and she had not expressed the same love.
And snapped, and he was done. And I don't think I realized the severity of it until I was trying to walk after him. And obviously you saw the jump of the fence, and then he took off. And then what you'll see after this is kind of the raw, real emotions. And it's not pretty. It's not pretty on my part. It's not pretty on the producer's part or Colton's. And I think you're going to see it warts and all. And it is really emotional on all of our parts. A lot of tears were shed, and a lot of things were said that may not be suitable for ABC. But we all kind of aired our grievances and let it all out.
All right, they're going to let it all out. So we're going to see that tonight on part 1 of the finale, the aftermath of the fence jump. And then, of course, Ben, after this, we got to see how it all ends. Will Colton end up with anyone? Cassie had walked out on him. He told her she was the one, but he also said he would fight for her. And my question to you is, like, what do you think he should do at this point? How can we recover from this? Tayshia and Hannah, we haven't even seen Hannah G's fantasy suite, but we see in the teaser that she loves Colton. Tayshia has said she loves him. Colton has said that he was thinking about Cassie while he was with the other women. Like, can he propose to anyone here? What do we do?
No, not at this point. You know,
He
it's
should not
different.
propose to anyone.
Well, in past seasons, we've seen, you know, this kind of happen. At the end, somebody leaves and the person's upset. I'm thinking of Des. And then she looks around, she goes, there's somebody else here that really cares about me. I think in this scenario, Colton is so sold out on Cassie. It just feels different. Like his world fell down around him when she left. And even as she's leaving, he's still saying, I want to fight for you. Like, I want to chase after you. And I don't think we've seen that before on this show. So for me, and I'm looking at Colton, it's tough to think with 1 week left, he's so sold out on Cassie that now he can look around and go, yeah, but somebody else here can be my wife. I just think, if anything, maybe he walks away with a girlfriend and he goes, we can take now more time. I think it would feel weird if he felt like he had to get engaged at the end. One of my advices to every bachelor is don't go into this thinking that you're forced to get engaged. That's not the point. If you feel it, do it. But if not, just do whatever it feels right in that scenario.
Well, Colton told Cassie, I will fight for you. We see him knocking on a door in the teaser. We don't know whose door he's knocking on. Say that he goes to Cassie, that they do end up together because he fought for her, and you know, she said she wasn't ready, but things work out. Will they last? Where will they go from here? How hard will it be for them, like, coming out of this Bachelor bubble after all this?
Well, I mean, I hope that the difficulties builds a perseverance, and that now they can get over a lot more. You know, this is never easy, and it's never pretty, right? I mean, I only know from my experience, as much as I tried to make it as easy on both myself and Lauren as possible, it still sucked at the end. It still hurt. She still was hurt by the things that were said, or watching it back and seeing you date, you know, 20 plus people through 3 months leading up to engagement. It feels weird. It almost feels fake. It feels weak. So you have to understand that, and if there's real love there, it will conquer whatever awkwardness has existed along the way. And so I hope for Cassie and Colton, or however this ends up, that if they're together, they can look at each other and say, yeah, this was awkward, this was weird, but let's start fresh now, knowing that we love each other, and this built our love story.
Can I ask, when you, I mean, obviously people who have been on this show, it's an experience that, like, nobody else can really understand, so you guys talk about it and what it's like. When you've talked to other leads or contestants, have you guys discussed, like, you know, that relationship might have made it if we hadn't met on the show, or if we hadn't had the issues of the aftermath of the show? Like, does that come up, and what do you think about that?
Oh, I think it probably happens quite often. You know, it's not normal. It's the scenario in the best case, in the best situation is you have a bachelor or bachelorette that dates 20 plus women, 20 plus men, and at the end you're engaged and you're in love, right? But what still has to happen is that partner has to watch you kiss, date, talk about, share feelings with people along the way leading up to an engagement. It feels sometimes forced. I think that question, you know, in difficulty and hard times, the insecurity of, was this forced? Were we manipulated into this? And in the best times, it's, you know, 2 days before we were engaged, you were kissing somebody else. Like, no matter what, there's going to be hard times in this. And so that's why I think there has to be a mutual understanding of, we tried our best to get to the point where we're trying to be happy.
Yeah.
And
did you and Lauren talk about that?
A lot, yeah, as much as we could. I think every couple probably does, and we've talked about it with a couple past bachelors, at least I have, is when did you tell the person you chose, or if you chose anybody, about the experience, like what led up to that day? And they're like, hopefully as soon as possible, the next day, a couple hours later, because I think you just want to, you're so tired at that point, and you're also so happy. You know, I think on my season you saw me saying, like, I'm ready. I'm so ready for this, because it's all done now. All this craziness is done, that I know it's a common feeling of, let's just get this over with and move on, because I'm tired of the drama that exists here.
But did you and Lauren talk about how things might have gone if the show had not been a part of things?
No, I don't think we ever did. I don't think that was ever, I think it was just done.
It was just done. We're all in different places now. I want to take a look at this interview I did with Colton, because here's the thing. We've gotten wrapped up in the fence jump. We've gotten wrapped up in who he's going to pick. But at the end of the day, how this whole season started was Colton's a virgin. He's our first virgin bachelor. Will we get an answer to that question? Here's Colton talking about whether or not we'll find out if he's still a virgin at the end of all this.
I don't know if you ever will. I mean...
Taking this one to the grave or what?
10 days, 10 years, I don't know.
So you're not necessarily going to share that with the world?
No, I don't.
Well, we've been on this story
is this
with
like a
you.
baby? Is this like a baby announcement here? We're gonna just all of a sudden I gotta.
I'm just saying you shared the virginity thing,
Yeah.
so I think your fans want an ending to the story.
Right. I mean, the story isn't over yet, so there's still a few more episodes for the story to play out.
I didn't totally know what Colton meant with that baby announcement comment, but tell me what you think, because look, you've brought people in, millions of people in. What are you laughing about right now?
The baby announcement.
It's confusing.
I didn't get it.
I didn't get it either. Okay, you
sorry.
have no light to shed on that for me.
Okay.
You've brought millions of people in to your story, and I kind of wanted to call Colton out a little bit and say, like, look, you brought people in. You were the one who shared on TV that you are a virgin, and now he's telling us, well, I don't know if I'll ever tell you when I lost my virginity or what happened there. I feel that the audience wants the ending to his story.
I don't know if we're owed the ending to that story.
Okay, tell me why. Tell me why.
I mean, I get it. Was it Colton's choice? So there's two ways to look at this.
Okay.
Let's break this down.
Okay.
Was it Colton's choice to talk about his virginity as much as was talked about?
But he brought it up on
But
Bachelorette.
that's what I'm going to say.
Okay.
That's what I'll say. Is that as much as he says, I don't want this to be the storyline, and as much as we say, I'm sick of watching it, there's still virgin dad jokes brought up that he's saying something. Well, you're welcoming us into this now.
Yeah.
You've invited us in, you've joked about it, we've joked about it, we've talked about it. So now, if that is a storyline that he's willing to discuss with the public, then maybe we do need an ending to a story. I've always believed that if you sign up for this show, you sign up for your story to be told in whatever capacity it's done, right? You're completely vulnerable, completely authentic along the way. But with this, I think his storyline's now switched. The virgin part doesn't matter to me anymore. I want to know what happens on the other side of the fence.
Totally.
And for Colton, I'm actually kind of happy that the virginity talk was shut down. It doesn't do me any good to know if he's had sex or not. I could care less. It's just closing up the storyline of, is Colton now a virgin or is he not? What happens if he's not a virgin? Do we clap? Do we celebrate? Do we go, this was awkward and weird that we were along the way for that? Like, I don't know how to respond even. I just want to know if how this thing ends at this point.
I'm with you 100% on that. It feels like something where my guess is going to be that tonight or tomorrow, like he's part of the live finale. He's asked about it. He makes a little joke about it at some point. And will we see you potentially on TV tonight or tomorrow, Ben?
You will. I just thought.
What are you in LA for, Ben?
Yeah, I just thought about this picture of what if tonight, as we watch the show, or as the show continues the next couple episodes, if all of a sudden you see Colton walk out of a fantasy suite and just. What do we did it.
He just high fives the crew. They went from tears to high fives and cheers. Everybody toasts.
That's awkward. Anyways, I am gonna be at the finale night, so yeah, I'll be around. I don't know exactly what my role is yet.
Okay.
But I'm gonna show up. I seem to show up every year. It's something I hope to do until I'm 50.
Great.
I just want to hang out.
Yeah.
You know, be around the kids for a little bit.
Yeah, all those kids.
Yeah, see the love.
There was some talk about you potentially being the Bachelor again. You and I talked about this a lot. Any thought in your mind of knowing now how the season has played out and seeing these women? I'm guessing you don't have any regrets there. You're now happily in a relationship as well.
I'm good. Yeah, I'm doing all right. You know, there has been. I think this was the first year. Going into the Colton season that I actually thought about it again. That had been, in my mind, and I thought, okay, can we do it again? One thing I don't want is I don't want to be pigeonholed to be known as the Bachelor forever. That's not going to be good for me for any type of legitimacy long term. And I am so happy with Jessica Clark, and we've been dating for a couple months now, so it's going well. I'm pretty happy. Oh, geez, you have a picture.
We
Good for
pulled
you.
that right up.
Yeah, good for you.
We are right on top of those cues.
Yeah.
You guys are so cute together.
Impressive
This is
leg
you. Honestly, I texted you about this. I was like, wow, she is a strong woman. I would imagine mentally, emotionally, and obviously physically. So this is you guys in Honduras. You went there to do some great work with this organization you work with, and also with Generous, your coffee company. What were kind of your takeaways from this trip? You've been there a lot of times before in the past.
Yeah, it was really nice to have her there. We started dating at the beginning of this year, or really in December. So to have somebody down there in Honduras, a place that means so much to me and that has, really guided a lot of my life, and to see her play with the kids and to meet the people that I, get to meet a bunch was really special. It builds a really authentic relationship, and it takes away all the kind of fluff to the Instagram world where, and that's actually when we announced it. I was down in Honduras when we announced our relationship, and that was just important for me. The cool part about that experience was Jessica chose to go. She went to me and said, I want to go and see what your world looks like, and so I want to come with you. And really the takeaway from all of those trips, it's nothing to be too dramatic, but it's just that people are people no matter where they're in the world, and that we that true love and true service to whoever it is can make a huge impact. And I just come back fired up to serve better, to love better, and to hopefully encourage others to say whatever injustice it is that you see fit in the world, go fight it.
And by the way, tell people where they can get involved if they maybe want to go on one of these trips.
No, you're the best. Go to generouscoffee.com. That's our website. We sell coffee that's specialty grade, and it's sourced from single origin farms. And you can come down and visit the coffee farms with us, or go to Humanity Hope United and go on a more mission trip with that organization.
So yeah, I would imagine when you take those trips, things can kind of get even more serious. You're like, you've had that experience with someone. Did that elevate things for you, Jessica? Take it to a new
I think
place?
it did. Yeah. Well, it gives us a conversation. Like now, when I talk about what I do for a living, Generous is my full-time job. It's what I wake up and I'm taking a couple hours off to talk to you, which is always worth it.
Thank you.
But it is my full-time job. So now when I'm working and I'm selling coffee, and maybe I'm working on a Saturday and Sunday, I'm saying, Jessica, like this is for a bigger purpose.
Yeah.
Now she can go, I've seen it. I get it. I understand it. And also, there's something really unique about experiencing true joy through service with a partner or a friend or a loved one. I think it builds community. And the group that went down, there's 22 of us from all over the country, all strangers, that went down on a Generous Adventures just to serve and love well and meet people from a different place in this world. And we come back now and we're still on a text thread. My phone is vibrating in my pocket.
I love it.
Yeah.
You've been doing that for such a long time and such a champion of that. And you know what? It's part of what makes you the perfect Ben. My question for you now, though, Ben, is tonight you are going to be at the live finale. Yeah. Take yourself back to your live episodes at the end of your season. How nervous do you think Colton and the women are for tonight ahead of Monday and Tuesday?
It's really nervous.
Yeah.
It's really odd, Lauren. Like this is a time for Colton where he has been celebrated, he has been criticized, he has been loved on for the last 7 months since he was announced as the Bachelor. I don't know how long it was when he was announced or whatever. And now he's been the focal point. After tonight, he's no longer the focal point. They're announcing a Bachelorette soon, and it's going to be about her and about her storyline. And so for Colton, it's going to hit him at some point in the next couple days where he looks around him again and says, this was it. This was what.
What's your big question that you want answered from Colton tonight?
I want Colton to know, did he do this? Was it worth it? I think, you know, for all the tears, for all the virginity talk, for as authentic and vulnerable as he was with everybody, and for as many times as he got broken up with, was it worth it?
He had maybe the most self-exits in the history of the show. I like how we call them self-exits. That's my new word for you got dumped. Ben Higgins, guys, follow him on social. Check out Generous Coffee. That is a wrap for this hour of ET Live. But the Bachelor finale is live tonight, and we will be live right after it ends. We're going to be here reacting. Stick with the stream. ET Live is 24/7. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.